Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex. They look outside themselves, trying to know themselves.
Threw me off there. Peace. We're back again with the one and only Curse. And today's, to me, it's a special day. It's Father's Day today. So what better to talk about dads and fatherhood. So the first segment I'd like to go into is something I call personal connection. So my first question to you, bro, is what does Father's Day personally mean to you, and how do you usually experience it?
All right, so firstly, I want to just big up all the fathers on Father's Day, all the good ones anyway. Let's up you.
No, respect, King.
Happy Father's
Love
Day
to you too, man.
And yeah, man, even single mums and all of that as well. I know that it's tough out here. But yeah, to get to your question, for me personally, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't mean much. Father's Day to me, this is gonna sound bad, even though I've blessed up everyone on Father's Day today. But if I'm honest with you, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick to me. I think sometimes we need to address fatherhood, because I feel like when you look at the stats and you see how much single parenting is going on out here, it's a problem. It's a major problem. So it's important, and I think you can use days like this to kind of, you know, have conversations like this even, and you're a reminder of what fatherhood is about and how important it is. But for me personally, it means nothing to me. It's just another day. If someone says to me, Happy Father's Day, we all know if you're a father, you know it's all year round. One day doesn't mean anything, a week doesn't mean anything, a year doesn't mean anything when you're a father. You know, from the moment your child is born to the moment either is gone, it's that, and it's rapid, and it's frequent, and it's one day is never going to be able to dictate your emotions or feelings on it. Yeah, you can respect it and be like, okay, for that day let's go out and do something, but for me that's just a gimmick. You know, so yeah.
What I was gonna say is, like my experience of fatherhood, in the sense of me coming up, my dad was a waste man, like still is. Yeah. No, and I don't say that. I don't even say that like to be spiteful or to be. It's just, it is what it is. Like he never stepped up in areas that he was supposed to. Which is, and what it done is he showed me what not to be. So everything that he wasn't doing or didn't step up in, or I felt was lacking, I'm trying to make sure that I do that for my offspring. Or well, not do that, but do the opposite.
You know what's mad about that? Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, so the thing for that is, it's weird because I feel like I'm the same. Same thoughts with my dad. Anyway, we won't even go into that right now. We can get into that later. But yeah, it's weird because when you say that, it makes me think I did the same, but we have to be careful when we do that. Because I feel like by doing that, we kind of create monsters. So, you know, like when you're trying to give your child everything that you wasn't given because of the waste parents that we know about, you're almost kind of starting up something that you might not want to start up, because you're trying to teach these youths that, you know, everything just comes easy. Some of the things that we went through and the hardships that we went through, there were lessons in life, and they were able to allow us to say, okay, this is what's going on, this is a reality. Whereas I feel that we've given our kids so much, they're not learning valuable lessons. Yeah. And it's become difficult for them to adjust with the realistic things that they've got to deal with in life.
Because what I was going to ask you, what I was going to follow up, I was going to say to you, how would you describe your relationship with your father growing up? And what are some key things your father taught you, whether directly or indirectly? That's what I was going to ask. Great,
because that leads on to what we were just saying. So for me, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a relationship with my dad. He was not there. Not even a little bit. And the times that I did see him, there was nothing. I don't have no memories
Okay.
of my dad. And what that taught me was a mental strength to be able to deal with stuff in a way that, you know, sometimes you're on your own. And sometimes you don't have that. Because, I mean, every child would love to have a father figure. You know, I don't know any child that will be able, or any adult that will be able to say, you know, they wouldn't have loved to have a father figure, or don't respect the fact that they did have a father figure. Every person would be like, yeah. So for me, who didn't, I mean, I would love to have had a father in my life, but I didn't. But it did strengthen me to a point where I was able to adjust in life and deal with situations a bit better, maybe. I mean, I can only speak for how my life is at the moment.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was able to be mentally strong in scenarios and be able to deal with things by myself. And I think that a lot of people are not able to do that when they have the support and backing sometimes.
Yeah, interesting, because like for me, my dad was there till about 11, 12. Mum and dad split up. And obviously, I never had... my mum was breaking certain things down to me, but I never had the clarity back from my father on what was going on. So I kind of felt that it was, in some way, shape or form, my fault why this has happened. Because of that, not that clarity, not from him to say, look, this is what it is, son, bish bash bosh. And even when he was reaching out, he'll be like, yeah, here's a key to where I'm staying, but he was never there. So when I'm going to the yard to go check him, he's not there. So
There was no relationship.
yeah, I kind of had I even up till today, it kind of affects me in the sense of I have anger issues, bro. These anger outbursts and stuff. I personally know that it comes from that. Well, that's what I think it comes from.
It's funny because for me, when I look at it, you know, to try and understand the breakdown of relationships is very difficult, especially for a child. Like, how do you even explain that to a child? Like, at whatever age, even at 11, how does your mum or your dad explain to you that the breakdown of their relationship is because of any specific reason that you're going to understand and be able to digest?
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like in parents' minds, they're like, well, look, we'll just leave them, which is also the wrong thing to do. Because then, like you just said, you're left with this hatred. Like, well, what's going on? Is it me? Is it because of me? And what, you know, like there's this thing where, like I said, with me not having it, there is a mental strength. Like, I just feel like it's so easy for people to just give up now. See, in relationships, like a lot of people make really bad decisions, really bad choices in terms of relationships. Like, I saw something today where there was this woman, and she's got 6 kids.
Okay.
She's got 6 kids, and one of the baby fathers wants to take his daughter to Disneyland. But he wants to take his daughter to Disneyland, and that's it. She's saying the daughter can't go unless he takes the other 5.
Mad.
And I'm like, that's outrageous. Even though I can see what she's trying to say, but it's outrageous. It doesn't make sense. It's just nonsensical. But the point I'm trying to make is, it's the bad decisions and the bad choices that we make. So she's even saying she doesn't want her daughter to be able to have to deal with her bad decisions. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's on you. You know, she should not be able to not go now because of your bad decisions.
That's right.
And at the same time, though, because she was also saying that the father with the other kids, they've called him dad through the years, whatever.
Hey.
But my point is, with him, I mean, you had a decision to make when you met someone who you knew had previous. You know, so for me, it's a situation where it's very difficult in terms of children to be able to understand the bad choices and the decision makings that their parents have made. So for you, when you was young, it's hard. I mean, I don't even have the correct answer for you to be able to say how they should have done it. But I do think there does need to be a conversation that parents need to have with us to be able to say, look, this is what's going on. This is why it's going on. And it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that happens enough.
No.
You know, for us to be able to go, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know and making me be able to understand why this is possibly happening.
I feel that, man. You're a father yourself, so how has this role changed or shaped you as a man?
Oh, 100%. My whole thought process has changed. My decision making is different. I mean, I was, obviously, before kids, I was wild. You know, like, I can sit down and digest the situation now. You know, like if something happens with us now, if something happens now, I'm able to take a step back and be like, you know, it's not worth it. You know, whereas before, I was, you know, before it was just like, rah, think later. You know, now think later. Whereas now I'm able to think, and I know the importance of my decision making now.
Yeah.
I know that if I don't make a good decision, the effect that it can have on my kid's life is massively overbearing in terms of just my initial outburst. You know, so yeah, that's really important.
Let me just pop this window over there from the car.
Weather's kicking
Yeah,
in.
this weather's going mad. You know, earlier on, yeah, let me turn it off. Earlier on, like before I got it, I thought, yeah, let me put the hoodie on because it was
No,
like
you wish-
a bit.
yeah.
Now I'm like, what the?
It's hot. It's hot.
Yeah, all right. So, do you feel that fatherhood is something you was prepared for, or did you have to figure it out on your own?
Oh, 100% had to figure it out. I mean, especially when you consider I didn't have one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I say I didn't have one around. He wasn't around. He wasn't a parent. So yeah, definitely had to figure it out. There's not a book.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there's not an actual book. You know, and if there is a book, it's a lie. Because as you know, bro, every individual is different. I remember, look, my first child. I remember when I was having the second. I'm thinking, yeah, I've been here before now. No, I'm seasoned now. What about it? It's totally different. It's a whole new ball game. Yeah, I've got a daughter and a son. So two different genres. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that I had to work out myself. And then it's not even just about the whole, you know, father and children thing. Is father, mother, and children.
Yeah.
That's a whole new thing as well, because it's a whole new structure. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So it's being able to deal with all of those elements. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because one thing that we learned, and that's what I was saying earlier, when you know, I feel like people give up too early. You have to be able to stick it out, man. You have to be able to work things out.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's important because, you know, a mother has a way of doing things. A father has a way of doing things. They actually have separate roles.
Yeah.
Some of them are the same, but there are some things that you want a mother to be able to do, and there's things you want a father to be able to do, and that's really important. And I think that's getting misguided now. You know, everyone's just trying to do everything the same, and I'm thinking, well, that's not. Like, I need the mother to be able to, you know, emotionally connect with the kids. I need me to be able to, you know, set boundaries and stuff with a kid. And I'm not saying that both can't do that, but there has to be a certain way that it works. And I feel that yes, that's getting thrown out of the window at the moment.
Interesting you said, because my next question was, why do you think fathers are often represented or misrepresented in mainstream media?
That's a tricky one, because I feel like that's dependent on also us. So you look at minorities, the way that we are represented, and then majorities, is two different things. So that's a trick question in terms of how I would answer that, because it depends on who you're actually speaking about. So I feel like us is just because that's the narrative, isn't it? You know, you look at us as fathers. Predominantly, we're seen to be the ones that leave. We seem to be the running joke of the ones that won't stick around. You know, so I'm trying to say that element kicks in where them guys are out of it. So I mean, you can't. The stats don't lie. The stats will probably back the fact that we are more likely to. But I think you've got to be able to connect that with other things, like other elements like poverty, not having fathers ourselves from a beginning, because of the stresses of what our fathers probably went through. Because as bad as I see a lot of, like, for my father, yours probably, I think we can connect the same on that level. I think as bad as they were, I think there's emotional, deep-rooted reasons why they were the way they were. And I think that doesn't get looked at enough. You know, so I think it's so easy to just say, they left, they done to be their waste men, which they are. But there was obviously something going on with a lot of them as well.
Of course.
Mental health issues and the stress of trying to do stuff and then probably not feeling like they're getting the support that they probably needed, because the pressures of a mum is, she's saying, look, I need you to provide for the kids. I'm here with the kids. I need you to, but that stress in itself for a man is overbearing, because obviously he's trying to, in his head, he's like, well, I've got to make sure I make this work. And when it's not working, those pressures are undeniable for a man. So it's difficult.
Interesting, because my next question was, there's a narrative pushed by some that mothers are the real fathers. How do you feel about women claiming Father's Day for themselves?
So look, I think it's single parents. I think women deal with like 80% in the UK. Is 80% of them. So for me, I don't have no issue or any problem with that, because at the end of the day, for the guys that have left, that's what you've left. You've left a massive hole, and a woman now has to deal with everything. And that's what my whole point I'm trying to say is they shouldn't have to. It's supposed to be a partnership. Man and a woman, mother, father, and collectively, there's a teamwork issue that's supposed to happen. And I can't hate on women who do that, but what I would say is that the importance of a man should not go unnoticed. So in terms of claiming that's fine, but the importance of a man is very, very important, because they need to be able to be looked upon and looked up to, to be able to say, this is the importance of a dad.
Right. So why do you think so many fathers feel invisible or undervalued in today's society?
See, I don't think they do. I think the way I look at it is every relationship is different. So everyone has a different reason for why they leave. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Sometimes infidelity is a factor. The stresses of finances. There's too many different reasons to be able to narrow it down to that. Listen, as I've said, some guys are just waste.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Some guys are just not up for the task.
Yeah, they're not built for it.
They're just not built for it. So for me, it's just a situation where it just comes down to an individual strength. But I just think like a partnership needs to happen. I think if a mother and father can work together as a team, you've got half a chance. And I think that's what the most important thing is. Even back to your last question, for me, it's not so much about the woman or the man. It's the connection with both. And collectively as a team, that's what's supposed to be happening, and that doesn't happen enough. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So I think that's the real connection.
Is it fair to say that some systems, legal, social, or political, work against father involvement?
Yes, but I think a lot of the time is things are seen at that moment. So like if you look at legally, for example, like divorces, whatever, it's predominantly for the woman. Yeah, for the mother, predominantly. Like if it goes left, they predominantly get the right, all of the rights. And I think at one point the way society was, it kind of made sense, because like the traditional way of a man goes to work, does provides all that, but the woman's at home. She can't do that. So if he then turns around and decides to leave, she's pretty much left with what? I think that's in itself is unfair. So I can understand the factors of being able to say, okay, a woman should be able to get something. I think that's fair. I don't see anything wrong with that. But things change, and as society's changed, that's different. But the rules haven't. So then, therefore, now we're looking at it thinking, but hang about, that's not quite how that's worked. I've earned all of this, I've done all of this, and she's been able to do the same, but now I'm finitoed in terms of that, and everything's blessed on the other end. Or what you've done is you've created an environment now, because this is another problem. You've created an environment where, you know, this trust thing has gone AWOL, because now you're not sure. Like, it's like marriage. A lot of people don't believe in it for these reasons that we're discussing now, because, you know, you look at, I can't even remember the football player's name now, when he put his he's financing his mum's name.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Hakimi, I think it was. And it's like the fact that you even have to think like that just shows you that, you know, that our mindsets are just warped, in the sense that, you know, we're even going into situations, preempting things, rather than just, you know what, let's just go into it because, you know, this is a partnership and dealing with things. So yeah, it's just strange but true.
Yeah. How do you think culture, especially black culture, views fatherhood compared to motherhood?
Well, like I said, there's a painting, and it's pictured it's just negative. It just overall is negative. But I think that negativity doesn't just come from fatherhood. I just think it comes from, you know, that subconscious black male. It's just negative,
right?
Aggressive, violent, loud. Yeah, just we could carry on with all the negativities, but I think that's the thing. And just when you picture that, it's impossible to not see it in a bad light. And I think that's what's happened, and I think that's filtered down to us as well.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, both of us can answer this question. So when we was young and we was looking at fatherhoods and around us, you look at the friends that you knew, or your associates at school or whatever, which ones were in double-barreled relationships and which one was single? And you look at them and you could see that, for me, the majority of my friends who only had their mum at home, I had a couple who only had their dad, funny enough, but there was minorities. We was the ones that didn't. We was in the single-parent homes. So that that's not coincidence. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as I said earlier, the stats don't lie.
I was going to ask you, how do you think young boys are affected by growing up without a present father?
Oh no. That's see, for me, it's both, in terms of daughters and sons.
And
so,
I was gonna ask you after that, what is on the flip side?
Okay,
the actual father for a young girl?
Sorry.
No, that's cool. That's cool. We can lick them back down the same time.
For me, it's massively important because, as I said earlier, you have different roles. And when you was asking about when women wanna take, you know, Father's Day and have it as their own, the reality is a dad can only really truly raise his son. A woman, as good as of a job she can do, or should I say a mother, not a woman, a mother, as good as a job she can do, and they've done well. My mum raised me, your mum raised you. In my humble opinion, we've done okay. Okay? So they can do amazing jobs. But what I would honestly say, in my humble opinion, is a mother can't raise a son to be a man. In my opinion. She can raise him, but she can't raise him to be a man. Only a man can raise a man. The same way I can't raise my daughter to be a woman. Her mum can raise her to be a woman. Because obvious reasons. You know, so that's the importance of the connectivity and collectively being able to do that. So to go back to your question is, when you're seeing a lot of these boys on the roadside doing the madness that they're doing, a lot of them have the mums, single mums, but their mums can't connect with them. There's a connection that's not there. So, you know, a mum can turn around and say, look, son, what are you doing? That's crazy, you shouldn't be doing that. Whereas a father can understand why he's doing it. You understand what I'm saying? If my son started acting up on the roads, I would be able to understand why he's acting up on the roads. Doesn't mean I'm gonna accept it or appreciate it, but I'm gonna be able to understand, and then I'm gonna be able to sit him down and be able to say, son. Whereas I feel like a mother can do that, but she's not gonna have the actual full understanding of why he's doing it. and being able to actually show him. Whereas I think we are able to do that. And the flip side is with the same thing when girls are going through certain bits and pieces. I can be there. I can set boundaries and be like, listen, this is this and this is how we need to. But a mum's going to be able to really be able to emotionally be in touch with her daughter. 100%. That's in my opinion, not 100, but in my opinion, I think that's just how it works.
I hear you, bro. Do you think we as a society have normalized the idea of fatherless homes too much?
I don't think we haven't done it on purpose. I think it's just standard because it's apparent that's what's there. You know, I mean, look, if you think you're young, you go around to your friend's house. Where's your dad? Oh, my dad's not around. But look, let's use me and you as an example. Young. You come to my house, no dad. Go to your house, no dad. We go to our other region's house, no dad. It's normalized because it's normal. It's become normal. I don't think we've done it, society have done it on purpose. It's just what it is. As I said again, and I'll say it again, the stats don't lie. And I think what's happened is, you know, it's become that. And it's unfortunate because when we go back to it's all relative. When we go back to the very beginning of this conversation, yeah, and we're talking about, you know, how things are and how they're supposed to be, I'm saying, look at that. That's the point. You know, as fathers, we have to be there. We have to be there because when we are there, you fast forward to this, what we were just talking about now, that's how you show them that it's not normal. Yeah, so by being there, we can then teach our kids this is not normal. So it's normalized not on purpose, because our fathers was not there. But the way we change that is by being there. Because for me, listen, I know relationships can break down. I get it. I understand it. But there's just got to be this mental toughness I feel that we need to have to be able to say, look, we've got to stick it out for these youths.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean, if you lot can't stand each other, fair enough. But you got to be there. Like, we weren't asking our dads to be with our mum. That weren't our argument. We was just saying, just be there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah? And if you're coming around and you're saying to our mums, look, you might not care about me, but I want to be here for my kids, I don't see where that can be a problem. And it should never have been a problem. You understand? But, yeah, it's crazy, bro. There's so many different aspects to it. You can never, you know, with some things that we will be able to discuss, this is so multi because there's so many different ways of looking at it. There's so many different reasons, and it's hard because we can only speak for ours. You know, right. We can only speak for, you know, for me, my dad was never there. Some, as you said, yours was there to 11. Some are like 18, 19, the relationship breakdown, and so everyone has a different perspective.
Definitely. Well, I wanted to move into like a few questions as we're both music men. I wanted to know from your point of view, how has music shaped or reflected your views on fatherhood? Like, has there been maybe, I don't know, certain things you've seen, certain things you've heard, maybe through music that's given you different insight to the spectrum of fatherhood?
I mean, the last conversation we had, I remember I was saying, in terms of music, it changed everything for me, having children, in terms of the way I looked at music. Because the things I was saying, I was like, bro, you look at derogatory terms used against women. Man's got a daughter. It's something that you have to be able to address. You know, so that changed my mind. Like I said to you, one time I went to the radio and I went to do a set and I took my kids with me. I got my son and I got my daughter there, and I'm like, what do I say with some of the... I had to be so mindful. On point, and on point with what I was saying. And then I realised, just by having them, how the majority of my content was negative. To the point where I was like, oh, I don't want to say that. Can't say this, can't say that. And then it gave me a reality shock, because I was like, oh, actually, you need to really be thinking about what you're saying and what you're doing. And even the way I listen to music now, I'm like, and I don't like to sound like those. I don't like to sound like that. You know that. I don't want to preach. I don't want to sound like a preacher.
No, but tell it how you feel, bro.
But what I mean is, it's like when I hear certain songs and I hear certain content, I'm like, but what's that doing for anybody? What's that doing for anybody? And are you not intelligent enough to be able to put your point across in a better way than you just did? That's my thing. Let's be intelligent with it now. Like, you know, instead of just being so one-dimensional and just so blah, blah, blah. You know, and then just everyone's looking at it. Like, when you're doing a video, why do you have to have the gal them the way you've got them? Why can't you just say to yourself, you know, actually, I'm not even portraying that. If others want to do that, good for them. But I'm not doing that. For the young girls.
It's setting a standard for them.
Set a standard for them.
Yeah.
Say to yourself, like, no, we don't. That's not what we're around.
The real talk.
You understand what I'm saying to you? And that's the difference. This is when money overrides everything. Because in their mind, yeah, but we need to have that because that's what sells. All right, cool. That's what you care about. Fair enough. I'm not even mad at you. But what I'm saying is, set a standard where, you know, we don't have to do that. Like, we don't have to do that, and we can all respect ourselves. Like, when I watch, bro, imagine this. I watch music videos, and you've got young girls with pretty much nothing on, and then young men with pretty much covered up, where they're wearing balaclavas because they're so rolled. I don't want you to see who I am just in case I get. Just think about what I said. So the girls have got pretty much in the same video. Girls have got nothing on, but the guys have got What are we doing?
That in itself is sending out a clear message.
This is my point.
Yeah.
And that's why we've got, like you said, we need to set a standard. You know, and it can be done, but people are choosing not to. You know, and that's what happens. People ultimately they look at their pockets first, don't they? So that the pockets come first, and then all of that comes afterwards. Because, you know, it's so funny how you're a music artist, an actual artist, will do a music video and will have girls dressed up in a certain way in his video or her video, guys dressed up in his video and her video. But then if you said to that artist, would you allow your child to do what you've got in your, would you be okay with that? They wouldn't be okay with that. Because I wouldn't.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because what you're saying, I remember when my daughter was really young, I used to just play my tunes because I'm like, she don't understand what's going on. But then as time went on, my daughter was tapping in and she was listening. And I remember, like, she'll be rapping along. When it comes to the swear words, she'll stop. And I remember even saying to her, I said, like, oh, there's enough of that. No, daddy, keep playing it. Like, it's okay. Hear it to me. It's okay. You can do that. Like, I understand. I won't say it. And I just said to myself, no, that's not the way that I want to conduct things. Like, I wanted to know that I have a wider vocabulary than just keep having to swear and and you know, I can still say the same thing, but just be more witty with it. Use better 100%. Words and that. So yeah, I totally get you, man. A standard has to be set if you're a person that cares about your offspring anyway.
And look at that, like you're saying, with your child, your daughter. Look at that. So you being around and you being a certain way, look at the influence that you had. You know, I know that your daughter loves music and does music. That's not a coincidence. You look at, I watch football a lot. I love football. A lot of football players are football players because their dad was football players. A lot of plumbers are plumbers because their dad did plumbing. A lot of carpenters are carpenters because their dad did carpentry.
That's right.
You know, so the influence of a father is massive.
Yeah, it's immense, man.
Absolutely massive. Someone sent me a video yesterday, funny enough. You know Brock Lesnar? Yeah. You know Brock Lesnar? You see his daughter's, I think she does hammer.
For real?
Brother, I saw it. She looks like it was all big and strong, like, but this is what I'm saying. This is the influence that fathers can have when they're about. You understand? So, and the fact that because listen, let's not get it twisted. The chances are, if you in your daughter's life, say like you and Miss split before, she would still have listened to music. I'm confident of that. You're probably confident of that.
That's right.
But the fact that you was able to be there and say to her, yeah, no, I don't want you to listen to that, is the standard that we're supposed to be setting. Because we can't blame artists for their music. Can't blame them. People should be able to. That's why you're an artist.
Yeah,
you should be able to express yourself any way you want. I'd never not say that. But then it is for us to be able to say, okay, that's cool for them, but it's not cool for mine. That's why we're supposed to be around, to be able to do that and to be able to dictate, in that sense, what's happening and what's not happening around in the home.
Yes. Do you feel that there's a space in music, let's say like for UK rap, let's say, for men to speak honestly about fatherhood, pain, or parental responsibility?
100%. Listen, as an artist, and you should be able to express yourself in any way possible. Whatever, however you feel, you should be able to. That's what music's supposed to be about. That's the whole point. Express yourself. Like when I look back and you know, like the blues.
Yeah.
But I love the blues, bro. Because that for me is what music was. You know what I'm saying, bro? When I say that, man, they were selling, bruv. It's hard out here, man.
Real issues, innit?
Real issues up, bro, man. I'm sad. And that's what you want. And then when people listen to them, it's all about, it's relative, innit? Because you can relate to it. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm having a bad day too. You know, that's what music's all about, mood.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? At the end of the day, when it's so weird, when there's breakups, people listen to R&B sad love songs.
And you know what? I was just about to ask you, you know, can music be a tool
100%.
to restore and heal broken father-child relationships?
No, but it can and it does. If the portrayal's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? If music is always going to be about I don't care, F everyone, then we don't have a chance. But if you can go and listen to music and your number one artist is being truthful and honest, then we all stand a chance. The influence is massive. It can all be real.
Yeah.
You know, if you can do a song and say, listen, that guy done me a wrong, but I forgive him.
Yeah.
She done this to me, but I forgive her. That in itself is real. Whereas we paint this narrative where, yeah, if anyone violates, dead. Wow.
Yeah, that's it, innit?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say now. Like, it's okay. Well, we got no chance then.
Yeah.
If your dad can't be there for you, bun him. Well, we got no chance then.
I guess it goes back to setting that standard, innit?
Set the standard.
Yeah,
but it's got to go both ways. It has to come from us.
Yeah.
So you've got to be there. That's the point.
So I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to men who want to be better fathers but feel held back by past trauma or current struggles? What do you reckon that they could be doing?
There's nothing you can do but be there. Because remember, there's fathers that are there, they're dead. They're not doing nothing. So that's a possibility. But then the one thing I would say is that might be a perspective from someone, but for me, no, they're there. And that's more important than they're not being there. I'd rather my dad be there and not really be doing anything than not be there at all.
Yeah.
So my advice is, as a starter pack, be there.
Right.
Do you understand? And try and learn bits and pieces. For me, it was a massive learning curve. Like, I'm still learning. Like, I'm still at a point where, you know, my children are getting older now, but it's a thing where I still see them as babies. And then sometimes I'm even talking to them like they're babies in their mind, because they're thinking I'm grown now.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, exactly.
I know, because I get the same with it. Like.
You know what I mean? But in my mind, I'm like, listen, you're still my little.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's being able to adapt to that, to understand that, no, do you know what, they are a bit grown, and you do have to adapt to the way you're speaking to them, and because society's different. So although I can say to you like I did earlier, you know, if he's on this thing and I can have another, but things are different. So we've got to be there, speak to them, to then try and understand how things have changed, why they've changed, and what we can do with that change collectively. You know, and then by doing that, we can grow together, and that's what it's about. You know, like even me, I'll be honest. Like I look at my relationship with my kids. I love them like nothing. Like it's bro, you know what it's like. But at the end of the day, the reality is they're their own people. And I've got to understand, and this is when I say I'm learning, still learning, I've got to understand that there gets to a point where they have to do them too. Yeah, so be there is the point I'm making is sometimes it's about just being there. It's not about dictating and controlling them. It's just about being there and saying, you know what, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, okay, you're trying to deal with that. If you need my help here, cool. No, all right, get on with it. And stepping in if you can see that they're struggling. But and we did that when you're teaching your daughter to ride a bike, and you can see that she's gonna fall over. But you let her get on with it, bro, because you're saying, look, I'm gonna let you deal with this. I'm gonna let you try. This is what I'm saying. Like what we didn't get. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So yeah, I'm gonna let you ride the bike. I'm gonna let you fall over a couple of times and learn that you got to get up again and keep trying. But I'm gonna be here, and if you get stuck, then I'm gonna okay, don't worry. I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna pick up the bike and you, and we're gonna start again. But I'm still gonna let you try and deal with it. Because like the one thing I loved that my kids were stubborn like that when they were young. Like when you try and help them, sometimes no, I want to do it. You know, and that in itself was because they had mum and dad around. Yeah. You understand what I'm trying to say to you?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's really important. Really important.
I hear that, and I agree. I totally agree. How do we create safe spaces where fathers can speak about their pain without being judged or emasculated?
This is not gonna sound good, bro. This is not gonna sound good, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how that is going to work. I don't see that working. Okay. Because in itself, think about the question you asked. In itself, that's not a manly thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean by that? Yeah. I'm not trying to say that's right. I'm not trying to say, but in itself, that's not a manly thing to do.
Because what are we always being told? Oh, man up.
Man up. Like, yeah. So it's like, how do I sit there and say, yo, man say, bruv, I need to talk about my feet. Man say, come on, bro. And I'm not, bro, and I believe we do. And I think these sort of situations are perfect. You know, I love podcasts for that. People should be able to sit down and talk and understand, but like that. But we've got to be able to get at that and at that narrative where you got to man up and blah. But then at the same time, a part of that is still needed because, you know, and it's another thing I know that, and I'll tell you, future, the next mental health is one, and I'll touch into that a little bit. For me, is mental health a real thing? 100%. 100% mental health is a real thing. I would never disrespect that. I go through my own issues in my head most of the time, so I know that it's a real thing. But at the same time, it's got to a point where it's allowing people to think that they don't have to deal with stuff. So on the one hand, I'm saying to you, I'm not going as far as man up, but it is a situation where, bro, deal with that. Don't just give up and crumble and just think it's because mentally I can't handle this. Sometimes you have to get on with it. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? Sometimes, you know, like you're at home and mum, this is happening. And your mum just saying, son, just put the thing into the washing machine or whatever it is. Just deal with it. Yeah. Sometimes we have to have that mentality where we are able to just deal with things sometimes without capitulating. And I think that's a really massive issue at the moment for me. That, you know, the society have got people just believing that, you know, when something happens, I can't go to work today. I don't feel like it. I just feel I'm like, brother, get up, go work.
Sort yourself out.
Sort yourself out. And that's not me saying man up or not. I'm just saying, come on. You know what I mean? If you've woken up and you can't breathe, I'm saying call an ambulance. You know what I mean? But
real issues there.
Just because you've got up and you're, I just don't feel like it today. I don't feel like that every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? If I didn't go to work every day, I woke up and felt like I didn't feel like it, I'd never go to work,
Yeah,
bro.
that's right.
And that's the point I'm making.
Yeah,
it's just
I
like
hate-
sometimes you have to be like, we need to get on with it. You know, and I feel like at the moment, and I don't know if that sounds controversial or not, but yeah, that's just my viewpoint.
No, I hear you, bro. In your view, how important is forgiveness? Both forgiving our fathers and forgiving ourselves?
It's the only way to go forward. But I'm gonna this again. You got me on some controversial one today, bro. So another for me, and I've spoken to my missus about this when we've discussed this. You ask me if I forgive my. I get a mental block. It's so bad, bro. I don't care to forgive.
I hear you. No, I hear you, bro.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I hear you.
To a point where sometimes I think forgiveness can come from when you are angry about something. So you know, if you've done me a wrong and I'm angry at you, then I can be like, oh, should I forgive him or not? But I'm saying I'm not even angry at him to even care to forgive him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't even got that space in my mind or in my brain to even care about that. It's not even a consideration. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? So for me, I'm cool. I'm like, look, it's got to this point now. I'm alright. You know, you don't have to worry about me. In my mind, you didn't before. There's no point worrying about it now. I don't live my life hating you. I don't walk around hating you. I don't feel like we need to have a discussion for me to not want to hate you anymore. I don't hate you. It's not about me forgiving you for what I think you did. All I would say is that you wasn't there. Do I forgive him for not being there? I've never even really thought about it. But I would say I'm not angry at him for it now. I probably was when I was younger, but I'm not now. I don't get upset or when I think of him and think, I can't believe he wasn't there or anything like that. But yeah, in terms of that, I'm good.
Because for me, like, I used to be very angry, bro. Like, very angry. Like, but now I'm more... If he had the balls to turn around and say, son, I'm sorry, like, explain himself in whatever magnitude and say, listen, man, I want to be there in your life and my grandchild's life, I'll be like, cool, let's get on with it. But I know he's not going to do that. So I'm just on the page now where I'm trying to just look forward and deal with what I've got going on here, because that to me is really important. My contribution to fatherhood, if you see what I'm saying. So yeah, that's what I stand with me and my one.
So back to what we were saying earlier. So in your mind, what do you think he could have done, 11-year-old Sykes,
Honestly,
that would have helped to have maybe built a better relationship or gave you a better understanding? So for example, let me be more specific. Is it a thing where he could have come to you and sat you down and said, son, this is why? Or is it a thing where he could have just said, you know what, every Friday, son, we go and play football? Or
I think it's a mixture of both. But the reason what it is from my corner of the thing is like of the room is when I sit down and think of my father, he went through so much trauma that he couldn't see past the trauma. And what that did is he passed the trauma on to us.
Yeah.
Now, all he needed to do was just be transparent and vulnerable with us, and just be real, saying, look, kids, I've been through X, Y, Z. I don't know what it's like to actually be a father, if you see what I'm saying. Or give us some sort of clarity in that thing, and then it wouldn't make me hate you so much. It'll make me it make me understand you a bit more. I've had to understand things through a long time of me sitting down pondering, because I'm a thinking man. And my goal outside of me doing music and my day-to-day job right now, I'm studying to be a therapist. Right, because of these situations, I like to understand, why was I going through that? Why did I feel like that? So me sitting down and thinking about his life and him, I was thinking, you went through all of this, but what you did is you just abandoned us. You didn't even turn around and be like, like, guys, I'm going through this. And then in that, you know, like how you just saying, just to be there and have these small conversations is going to bring healing in some way, because again, it's not going to make me look at you and hate you and judge you some way. I'm going to be like, okay, I kind of get what you're doing and why you're like that. And now what it's done is it's created a big void. It's a big hole there now. Because I know for a fact he's most probably sitting there having these thoughts like that, because I know that I get a lot of music I got from him. Like you said, we replicate, we learn from our people. So I know a lot of ways that I got from him. So maybe the way I think I get from him. So if he's a thinking man, he should have at least come to this point now where he's thinking, right, I need my family around. Well, this is just what I'm thinking. I don't know what's going on in his head. Right, I need my family around me. And then just swallow your pride. Because you know what I've noticed? To reach the pot of gold is through stages of being vulnerable. The vulnerability, it's like a friend. Imagine you've got no friends you can talk to, but you've got that one friend you can be vulnerable around, in the sense that you can just be you, and they don't judge you. They don't have no criticism. They just let you be you. But around other people, you just kind of hold back because you think, yeah, these lot don't understand that way of how I am or whatever. And that's how it should be within the family unit. Obviously, I say it should be. I do the inverted commas because a lot of the time that's not how it is for us. But that's what I think. I think the reason why my dad wasn't there to support, like when I was a good footballer, I was a good basketballer, I was good at a lot of things. But because, you know, dad wasn't there, but mum was out working, I was left to my own devices, bro. So the only thing that stuck with me and made sense, and that I truly knew that I was good at, was music. The other things that I thought I was good at, because my dad wasn't there to support, I kind of just thought, fuck this, and just threw it to the side. I'm not going to do this.
Do you think, that's an interesting one, do you think the music is because you don't need no one?
The music's my therapy, bro.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is, do you think the music is something that, you see, like with football and basketball, you need a basketball, of course. The football.
I hear what you're saying.
See, music was the one thing that we was able to gravitate to, that we didn't need no one else for.
That's right. Yeah, you didn't need nothing.
All I needed to do is be able to hear it, and I'll just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Whereas football, can I go to the pot? No. Can I go to that pitch? No. Can I get that football? No. Yeah, it's that you needed something.
Yeah.
Whereas music was the one thing, you know, that you was able to just gravitate to and didn't need your mum, your dad, your brethren, or anything, and that's why you could do it, and it was about expressing yourself. It had nothing to do with what anyone else was thinking. I just wanted to touch on something you said earlier about you felt like your dad went through trauma. But do you think that was part and parcel of why he couldn't be there, because he was not able to deal with that trauma that he clearly had?
Exactly. He you see, like when you're going through these courses of therapy, like, what I've learned from studying therapy, when you get there, it's intently in the beginning learning yourself. So you're really understanding what your triggers are. In all sorts of situations, you might go into a room. Why is it that when you see that particular person in that room, you just don't even want to talk to them? What is that about? Because it's all about self. So when I started to understand more about self, I started to reflect on my father, like, you know, things that I remember him telling me that he went through and all that. He had no one to speak to. Remember, this is a guy, my dad was a guy who came from the West Indies to over here. And in his mind, his family was in the West Indies. So to be taken from them to come here to his biological mother. And he's like, what the hell? He had no sort of, like, I don't think, no smoothing into it. It was just like, boom, this is your life, get on with it. And things that he wanted to do, couldn't get to do. Like, I just think he had big resentment in a lot of things. And there was no... he had no one to turn to. And you know how we have a lot of therapists everywhere. I think back in the day, there weren't no therapists. They weren't, you know, like you said, you got to man up. You got to get on with things. And I don't think he had the opportunity to.
So the strange thing is, what was your granddad like with your father?
What do you mean, his father?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. His father, they didn't really have a relationship like that, because his father was out doing X, Y, Z. And then only in his later life is when his father turned up. And it was just like, you know, yeah, it's like whatever.
So you just answered the question, basically. So there you go. So you look at it in the sense that that's the cycle. And the only way that cycle breaks is if you do what you said earlier, which is set the standard.
That's right.
So you was able to set a standard. You know, you look at the trauma. That's domestic violence. Yeah? Sometimes domestic violence can be a product of what people think is normal. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you look at it in terms of, you know, well, I went through that when I was young. So to go through it now is nothing new. It's almost normal. This is just what happens in arguments, and when it's not. But I'm saying, so you look at it in terms of, you know, your dad went through trauma, but didn't really have a good relationship with his. So he's thinking, well, this is what happens. This is what you don't have you know, like you can even compare the two with, you know, the man up situation. The man up thing is, yeah, but come on, man, we're not even supposed to be around anyway, because we never are. My dad left when he was. So what's different with me leaving? This is what we do. My dad's dad left. He's left. So if we all just leave, why do I stay? It's deep rooted.
It's normal for them, yeah.
And normalised, like you said before.
That's the word, yeah.
So that's what happens. But it's for us to be able to set the standard and say, no, actually, that ain't what it's supposed to be. And it's not.
It's not, man.
It definitely is. Let's just get that out there. It's not. But yeah, that is interesting. Mad interesting.
How could we as a community celebrate like Father's Day more often than just on Father's Day?
I don't think it's, as I said to you, I think these days are a gimmick. I don't think it's necessarily about, you know, celebrating it. I just feel like it's about putting it out there how difficult it is for fathers and mothers, and just letting fathers and mothers know that, you know, there's a space for people to go when you don't feel like you're getting it right, for example, you know. I think that's what we could do. And I don't think it even necessarily just has to be communities. I think it can just stem from families as a forefront, you know, just all across the board. If you see your brother, see your sister, see your uncle, see your auntie, you know, collectively, if you can see something's going on in one side of the family, come together and try and help that. You know, if you can see one of the youths has turned bad, come together and be like, look, what's going on here? How can we help? You know, you're not on your own. You know, I think, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think that's gone out the window as well. Where I feel like, you know, like you should be able to ring me and say, bro, man, I'm having a problem with my little one, you know, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, okay, cool, what's happening? And we can discuss it. And then, yeah, because my daughter was, you know, things like that. And then what that happens with that is you might ring me with that and I'll be like, oh, my daughter's doing the same thing, you know, bro. And we're able to come together collectively and maybe try and sort this out between the two, you know. And I think conversations need to be had more than even a celebration. I don't feel like I need to celebrate being a father. It's not something to celebrate for me. I just feel that it's a situation where just respect me, and that's all I ask for. Yeah, I just respect me for who I am and what I do, and nothing else matters. I don't need you to get me a card or get me anything to say, oh, Dad, thank you for... No, because I feel like you can do that every day. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, if my daughter does daddy's lunch for the whole week, that's more important to me than one day of the year saying, oh, thanks for being dad.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I'm trying to say to you?
Definitely,
if my son comes with me all the time when I need to go somewhere and backs me, that's more important to me than...
That's right.
The one day he sends me a card and thingy on Father's Day. So yeah, for me, I don't feel we need to celebrate it at all. I just feel like overall, just keep being there for each other. That's the most important thing, and just show the respect throughout the time that we're here on this earth together.
I hear you, brother. All right, so I want to get to final thoughts now. If you could deliver a message to all fathers listening, present, absent, struggling or thriving, what would you like to say to them right now? I think it's been the theme of this conversation. Just be there.
Like, just be there. No one, like I said earlier, you didn't get a manual for this. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. There's only your way. It can only be that. You can only do things your way. Don't be angry or don't, you know what I mean? Don't put too much pressure on yourself for that. Just do things the way you feel they should be done. But at the same time, whilst doing that, be respectful and understand that you're dealing with people and individuals, you know, and understand that they have emotions and feelings. And, you know, if you're feeling something, let them know that you're feeling that and explain to them. You know, so like I've always tried to do this with my kids. I've always said to them, we can have a conversation and I might be upset and I might be shouting at you and you might be thinking, but dad, and I'm saying, no, this is what it is. The wrong thing to do in my mind and in my opinion is to challenge me. The correct thing to do is digest what I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying, and then move on. And then later on in the day, you can come up to dad and say, Dad, I just want to say one thing. I don't agree with what you said earlier because da-da-da-da-da-da. And you know what? Sometimes I'm going to be able to say, you know what, you're right, I was wrong. You was actually right in that situation. And the reason why I say that to say this, the point I'm making is it's a two-way thing. You know, fatherhood is not just you being a father. It's you and your children collectively combining together. And just like with you and the mum, it's teamwork. It can only work if you're working together. You know, and I think that's part of the problem as well, why a lot of fathers struggle, is because they're thinking it's just a them thing. It's not. It's you and your children, and they are all individuals. Anyone that's got multiple children will be able to tell you they're not the same. They are not the same. Every individual is different. So you're not going to be able to deal with one situation the same way as you did with another situation, because you're dealing with two different individuals, or three different individuals, four, or how many you've got. You know. So to go back to it, I'm just saying, just be there and understand that, you know, you're dealing with individuals, and take time out to understand that and respect that and be there for them when they need you, when they're feeling sad, or any trauma you feel like you've gone through. What do you think they're going through? And you're grown. They're not grown yet. So you've got to be able to be there for them and be that security for them while they're going through that. And that's, for me, the most important thing I would say to any fathers. And that ain't to say that I'm sitting there saying I'm the best father in the world, because I wouldn't say that. But what I would say is, regardless of what anyone could say about me, I've been there for them. And you know what? It might not be even in the capacity that they might have wanted. They might be able to sit in the back now and say, nah, Dad, you should have been there more. I wish you was, or I wish we could have. That might be a possibility. But one thing they couldn't say is, I've not been there. I've been there all their lives. All aspects. You know, so the most important thing is be there. And even if they don't like you, at least you was there to be able, for them to be able to paint that picture. I can't even paint you a picture from mine, because he wasn't even there. I couldn't even tell you why I didn't like him, or he was this, or he wasn't that, or he did this, or he just wasn't even there to even be able to have that opinion. So yeah, that's what I would say. What about you?
Well, my thoughts on what to tell fathers.
Yeah.
I want to say the same thing what you just said there, because I think even the title of this thing should be for saying fathers be there, because I'll tell you what it is. The slight difference is, my father was there to a certain point, and past that point he just never was there. My father's tangible. I could go and find him right now. I know where he is, and I could do that, but he's just not there. He's not playing the role that nature gave him. And I think that is so important, because what that does is, like, when you're not there, that person is less to assume.
100%.
And what do they say about assume? Assume will make an ass out of me and you. So it's not about assuming, it's about knowing. So once you're there, they can feel your presence. Sometimes it's, look, just in general, sometimes if you know that people are there, you might not even want to hear people's critique about anything, but them just being there is enough. And when it's not there, again, it creates a void. It creates all of this extra stuff. And that's what I would like to avoid. I think you're right. I think being there is the stepping stone
100%
to greatness. Rather than coming with all the fluff, just be there, and then past being there, you lot can work on other things.
Everything else can be worked on.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's not much more you can say, because there's too many factors. There's too many different factors that you could just go around and round in circles, you know? And even people they argue, people in the comments argue, yeah, but I'm there and I can't because the mum. But bro, none of that matters as long as you are there. As long as you have some capacity, you are able to be in that child's life, you're doing half of the job. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we can't all be financially stable. We can't all be the strongest guy on the world that can protect in that sort of sense. There's only so much you can do as an individual, but what you can do is be there. And even with what you're saying about your dad was there till he's 11, you was 11, and then he wasn't, bruv, that means he wasn't there. Because being there doesn't mean being there for 1 year, 5 years or 10. It means being there forever.
Continuous, yeah.
Forever. Yeah? And at the end of the day, that just means with whatever you can do at any capacity. Look, son, I'm sorry, I weren't able to have the life where I was a millionaire, so I can't financially support you maybe the way that you would want me to. But what I can say is if you ever need someone to be there, I'm there. You know, like for me, the little things, what people don't understand, I always use this, bro. And, you know, for fathers, fathers will think, okay, yeah, but I bought my son a bike, I bought my son this, I used to do this, I used to da-da-da-da-da. Nonsense. My dad probably will be able to say things that he did or didn't do for me. I don't remember them. But what I'm saying is, if I ask you this now, what did your dad buy you for your 5th birthday?
Don't know, mate.
Do you reckon you would have remembered, though, your dad if he was at your first performance?
My first performance,
Yeah.
of course.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would
so even with things that you don't even do anymore, like your first football match,
Yeah,
you would remember that.
Of course I'd remember that.
So what, moral to the story, be there. Because that's what we remember.
Yeah.
We don't remember the materialistic things you bought us.
That's right.
I don't remember what toy you bought me this day or what toy you bought me that Christmas. But I'll remember if you was at my first football match. I'll remember if you was at my first performance. I'll remember if you was at the birth of my child or when my child was born, you was there. And all these things I'll remember. I'll remember when there was an emergency and I said, Dad, I need you to come and pick up my... I'll remember all these things. That's the difference. The fundamentals is being there.
You know what? I remember one moment where I was going through these back and forths with my father, and I was always turning up and kind of being like, "Where are you? What's going on?" And then his thing was, "Well, what is it that you want?" He's trying to say, "What is it? Do you want money?" And I said, "I just want you to be my father. I just want you there." So yeah, just to reiterate, I think that's the perfect phrase for this conversation. Just be there.
Just be there, yeah.
Because it does so much, man. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't want to long it off. And it's strange when you say that, you know, because when it's like, "What do you want?" And sometimes you say, "Be there," and they're like, "But I'm here." Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm
there,
here.
man.
What you? But that's what I'm saying. They misconstrue what you're saying. So when I'm saying be there, but I'm not trying to say be there by buying. Look, just because you bought me a bike, don't mean you was there.
Bro, materials is nothing, bro.
This is what I'm saying. Just because you bought McDonald's one day,
that's
don't
a
mean
part,
you was
bruv.
there. It don't mean nothing. It's the
Like,
important.
for me, for growing up and learning and just moving through this realm, I had to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, like, you know, like sometimes I don't even know if I'm doing this thing correctly. But I just have to do it because it's in front of me. I've got to react to the situation. And if I had that guidance there, no, son, don't do that. Or son, come over here, let me talk to you about this and that. Never had that.
Or even, it's not even like you're showing me the right or wrong way of doing it. It's a perspective. You're just saying to me, son, like in these situations, I was there, you know, and this happened. That doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen for you.
Right.
But this is a reality or a response to what might happen. You know, even that is important.
It's massive.
Do you know what I'm saying? You just being able to say, "Oh yeah, boy, you might not want to do that because," and yeah, when that happens. But again, that's giving us a mental strength that you know, we might not necessarily would have had if they were here. So it's different, bro. It's a difficult one, but I think I'm gonna stick with what we've said. Just be there. Just be there.
Love, my brother.
Wicked.
Every time.
Happy Father's Day again.
Yeah, man, respect, King.
Yeah, man. Like and subscribe. All of that. And yeah, catch us for the next one.
Definitely.
Hopefully we do this regular.
No, bruv, we will, because you know, I enjoy it, and I know a lot of people enjoy it who watch it, and it's all about the good conversation.
100%.
That's what it's always about.
And what I will say is, in the comments, let us know what you'd like us to talk about next.
Definitely, yes.
I've said mental health I wanted to touch on.
We should do, yes.
We should do that one. But I'll leave it to you guys in the comments. Just let us know what you'd like us to touch on next.
Definitely, brother. Peace.
Love, peace.
Yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex. They look outside themselves, trying to know themselves.